All right, what's good, everybody? You're tuned into Dial and Discover. We're on episode 2. Shout out. Thank you very much. And I'm joined here with my brother, CM Hlungu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's been exciting. Thank you to everybody that's actually just tuned in and joined to watch the content, to engage with the content. Thank you to everybody that shot us their questions. I think it's like we know that this was like something that will be proper,
Right.
but it's something different when we get the responses from
100%.
everybody.
100%. It's very unpredictable where it goes.
Yeah. So yeah, we added again another episode. We got a couple of calls that we're gonna shoot, and just hopefully today you'll learn something new, most definitely. So we're gonna jump straight into our first caller.
Nice.
Let's go in, and she's. I mean, we read the questions, a little bit of the question direction before. These are solid ones. Try not to repeat too many though.
Right. Right.
All right. There we go. It's ringing.
Hello.
Hello, hi. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. You're live on Dial and Discover with Sia and Calvin.
What's up?
Hi, Sia and Calvin. What's good?
Good. Thank you very much for tuning in and just shooting your question. Excuse me. Can you just give us your question real quick and let's see how best we can answer that.
So my question literally was, how do myself as an upcoming artist who is independent, not managed and not signed, get marketing and get my music out there? Because it's so hard when you don't have a team. And I believe that I'm working alongside bright people. I'm just not sure how to navigate the industry.
Okay. That's a good question, and that's like a question a lot of people ask.
Yeah. I think it's a very common question. So I think we're probably not going to take a lot of these anymore, but definitely whoever wants to hear the answer should listen out. I think I'm gonna let you go for this one. I really think that from an artist perspective, especially as somebody, just I might add, as somebody who has worked with an artist from the beginning and kind of grown with them up until the point where they feel like they're a prominent figure in the country right now, as they are. So I think it might be contextual.
Yeah, look, the most important thing is knowing. I usually start off any chat with any up and coming artist to say that your line of focus is very important to understand that you literally go from product to packaging second, right? And then from there you go to distribution. Those are the three most important things, which is like any product essentially, right? And the example I make is like Coke. Coke focuses on what's inside the product first. Then the second thing that they do is that they package the product. Then they work on distribution, right? So in the age that we at, I think a lot of up and coming artists get stuck in the old mechanics of how the music industry works, based off especially on what's happening internationally and what some of the things in our country reflect internationally, especially because SA reflects America a lot. Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of get caught in the label chat, there's an entity distribution chat, there's a this and that chat. You get caught in that, right?
Yeah.
So by actual fact, digital right now is such a big thing because that's the game changer.
Right.
That a lot of artists don't realize is a game changer.
100%.
Right? So all artists are still stuck on the fact that they've got to get signed, etc. And look, not saying that we're throwing out the signing conversation completely, but you see, that's also on information. You have to know how, and understand how that works. But for an independent artist, which indie right now is a real thing, I'm not saying getting financed is not, but indie right now is a real thing. And if you understand the tools that you're given, which is social media, a lot of people don't understand how those things work, actually.
Facts.
You can't go from being a consumer to now being an artist. When you become an artist that needs to use the tool to market, you're no longer a consumer.
True.
So you can't use the tools the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I encourage artists to understand how these platforms work, firstly, because these things are the biggest changer that even record labels themselves are like, we need to understand how this thing works fully because
100%.
we're no longer the go-to.
Yep.
Right?
That's so true.
And like I said, artists don't get that.
Yeah.
So you're literally looking at, one of the things I say is like doing your own PR is a real thing in 2023, essentially. Right? Because you can literally sit right now as an artist that we're talking to, you can go do a photo shoot, get some really dope snaps, a concept and everything, whatever the case is. You put that stuff out knowing that you've got a project that's rolling out.
Yeah.
You boost that content heavily behind that, knowing that the target market that you want,
Is
you know
the
what
one
I'm
who's sitting
saying?
behind
And now
watching. Yeah.
you're moving.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
100%.
So that's what's very important to like an upcoming artist who doesn't have any financial backing.
Yeah.
We're not talking billboards. We're not talking TV. We're not talking radio. We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
We're talking you're sitting at you're at home. You've got access to a studio. You've got some people around you that believe in what you're doing. And what do you have next that can take you to the masses?
Yeah.
It's digital.
Yep, 100%. You know, that's so facts, bro. It actually reminds me. Sorry to cut you off. You were speaking about how some people rush to be signed. You know what I'm trying to
Yes.
say? It's almost like that's the tail end of those 3 steps you've spoken about. Because if you look at a brand like Jay-Z and Ace of Spades,
Yes.
he went through all those 3 steps, and then only after that was he acquired by an LVMH, which is kind of like the signing, you know?
100%.
So within your distribution and the packaging and the products and so on and so forth, only at the end of that you kind of like get somebody's attention to sign. But I think something else that I've realized is I don't think people are actually educated. I think it's like these fancy words like getting signed, but do you even understand like what that even means?
What does that even mean,
Yeah,
right?
like, do you actually want to get signed? You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like,
Do you actually want to get signed?
actually want to get signed? Because then they get signed. It's like, I don't want to get
Yeah.
signed. How to get on my contract? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think the education of understanding the space. Do you know what distribution is? Do you know what publishing is? Do you know what being signed is? Do you know like what all these pillars are? Because I think once you understand that, then you can kind of find yourself and be like, actually, I'm okay where I am. I'm in the right part of the process. So like you're saying, you've been in studio, you've been recording, you've been making the music, and I guess you're in the first 2 phases of the 3 steps.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to that.
No. You're in the right place because the product is that important.
Yeah,
It's that important, literally.
Yeah.
So especially, and I'm gonna close it by saying this, especially in the place where digital is right now, that you could put out a product that on its own could take you there.
Yeah.
On its own.
Yeah.
Right. You're there because you have the algorithms are structured like that.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
second to that, once you're confident in the product that you give into the world, then package it, which is image wise, what it looks like. When people come to your socials, when people come to your gram, when people come to if you
Yeah.
want to do a site,
attracts
etc.
them. Yeah.
What are people looking at? Then the
Yeah.
third thing becomes distribution, and that is all your platforms. Even in that in digital, there's distribution. So
Yeah.
making sure you're on all platforms accordingly,
Right.
right? And then we talk music distribution as well,
100%,
right?
100%.
So, Sarah, I hope that helps you, and guides you. And
definitely
I mean, I don't know how long you've been doing what you're doing, but I also do think if
This
you
is my 3rd month actually.
Shout out.
I'm a baby. I'm
Shout
a
out.
baby in the
Yeah,
industry.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if I'm being honest with both of you guys, I literally got out of the studio 5 minutes ago with Juanita Most Entertainment at Master KG. So I'm doing
That's
okay
dope.
for somebody who's not signed and who's independent.
That's
I'm
dope.
actually-
Yeah, shout out. God.
Shout out. No, keep putting in the work. And I mean, if you just got out the gates right now, I'll tell you, spend most of your time in that studio.
Yeah.
Don't worry about everything else. Don't worry about the noise. Spend time in that studio. What comes out of that will take you to where you need to go.
Facts. Facts.
All right.
so much, guys.
Thank you very much for
Thank
taking our call. We
you.
appreciate you.
Good luck.
Pleasure.
All right.
Say hi to Master KG.
I will do that.
Dango.
Yeah, the branding thing and the distribution thing is like a big chat. Like, how do
Yeah.
I get out? And I
Yeah.
think for everybody, the most important thing I always say is like that product that you have out that comes out of the studio is very important because it doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a call with somebody yesterday and I said, remember when Samsung had the phones that were blowing up?
Yeah.
You can market a bad product.
True.
That's a real thing. Right?
Yeah,
So now
yeah.
they made all of that. They put it out to the world.
Yeah.
People went and bought
Bought it.
and the product was bad.
And the repercussions didn't do it
And
justice.
Samsung is big enough to fix it.
Yeah.
But you can't fix putting out a bad
I
product.
guess they blew up. That's a low hanging fruit. That's a low hanging fruit. Yeah, no, facts.
But
facts,
I'm
facts.
glad she asked that because definitely that's a question that we get a lot, and I think we're
Yeah.
gonna get a lot, especially with people just wanting to know
100%.
how they can navigate. And
100%. It kind of seems like the underlining tagline for D&D's product, or at least in the first 2 episodes, right?
Right.
But natural progression. But I like the 3 elements you mentioned. I think that's very on par.
Yeah, product, packaging, distribution. Very important.
Very
And
clean.
please, guys, study the platforms.
Yeah.
Study the platforms.
Yeah,
We're going to jump
100%.
straight into our second call.
Sure. And I think while you're doing that, I think it's also important to study people who have done it before. You know, there's some great examples
Hundreds.
of like independent people who are
Russ is my go-to.
his name was on the top of my mind.
Russ.
Bro.
Russ did it brilliantly.
Yeah.
He really did.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay.
So many options these days.
I know, right?
Let me indulge.
I mean, because the time allows. The time allows.
And back then, distribution used to be give us eyeballs, but now social media, we're all watching. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like flipped. Yo,
Hello?
what's going on?
What's happening?
Hey, what's up?
Chilling. Leander, you're live on Dial and Discover. You're out here with Calvin and Sia. What is your question, my brother?
What's popping?
Hey, yeah, so I'm currently studying at the moment, and I'm just about to finish. So next year I'm going to be in the workplace. And I'm just trying to figure out how to move forward. And one thing I was wondering about is with regards to getting a mentor, because I've noticed that that's something that gets spoken about a lot. I was just wondering, how important is it for someone to get a mentor, as well as if you are to get a mentor, what would the approach be? How do you find one?
That's a dope question.
That's a good dope
Out of
question.
curiosity, what made you curious about the whole mentorship element? Like, what brought that to your mind? Is it something you saw, something you read? What sparked the thought?
No, I was just thinking, like, with regards to just when it comes to putting in the work, there was an interesting point that was raised up. I think I was watching one of the TikTok reels that pop up, on Instagram, and the guy was highlighting like that it's important for us to get mentors. So it was just a thing that I was wondering, like, I get the whole aspect of it, but also at the same time, there's a thought in my mind where it's like, why can't I just be able to put everything together myself moving forward?
Yeah.
As I've already kind of have the plan or the idea in my head.
Makes sense.
I'm going to come out like off the top. I didn't have a mentor,
Same.
right?
Still don't.
I didn't have a mentor coming up, and to this point where I'm at, and I know that, you know, with the type of content that you're talking about, I've also heard the whole mentor conversation, which look, it makes sense to have somebody guide you through kind of the path in terms of things to do or not do, or things that they've experienced, etc. But also at the same time, for me, what happened was discovering the fact that through YouTube, everybody's telling their stories, right? And that's why the biggest content that I watch. And please don't get me mistaken, don't get me twisted. I'm not saying mentors or mentorship is not important. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it is very difficult to get somebody to kind of quote unquote dedicate their time or dedicate themselves to helping you, a person 9 out of 10 they don't know, you know, out of the gates or whatever. So in the interim, while you don't have this person, what must happen?
I guess you're almost speaking to the principles of why you would then want a mentor.
Which is why you asked the question.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you understand why you want the mentor, that means now get to the information that you need, that you were looking for in
the
essence.
mentor. Yeah,
in the
100%.
mentor.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's where I went as well.
Right,
And I got
makes
that
sense.
information. I consume a lot of interviews and documentaries. And I tell people it's because if you listen carefully in those interviews, the guys are giving you the information.
Because I guess mentorship is almost like, in Zulu they say, indlela ibuzwa kulaba phambili. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the ones who've walked the path are the ones you kind of get guidance from. So in those
100%.
interviews of stories, you kind of pick up on those attributes.
On the
and
attributes.
Makes sense.
And that's not just of one or two, because if you're a student of the game, you're watching that interview 5 times. There's conversations I've repeated because that man dropped the knowledge on this problem this
Right.
question I had on how to move on this, on how to move on that. Right? And therefore I've got to repeat that, or I've got to watch 5 of that same person speaking at different interviews,
Intervals.
but he might be
Yeah,
speaking about the
yeah.
same thing, but he keeps on every interview he's saying a little bit extra than the last time.
From a different
From-
context.
you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm like,
yeah.
if you're really in it like that, then you won't be swayed away from not doing your homework like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
And that's just one part. That's just on my side
Yeah,
to give you context as well, Leander, that it's not just a person, because the mentorship aspect is information. So then go get the information
Right.
while you're looking for this one person that you can trust to navigate you.
100%. And I think also like similar to mentorship, I think it comes down to your character and what you have inside you. Because I mean, to a certain extent, all my teachers in schools were mentors. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go back home and do the homework and have an extra passion to go the extra mile, right? So you can get information on YouTube or from a mentor, but it comes down to, are you actually going to apply it? Are you going to go further and dig deeper and kind of like find your own way, you know? So I think mentorship sometimes gives you, I mean, there's two sides to every coin.
Yeah.
So there's a great side to it, but it's also like a reliance on somebody to kind of get you through the door. So it's like, hey, I'm trying to start a shop. What do I do tomorrow? Go register a business. And they walk out. But you don't register the business. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And you don't. So it's like, so it's almost like what you're saying. Look at the contents, consume the content, have an avid interest in delving in and getting deeper and kind of applying the stuff that you're learning.
Yes.
Because a girl once said to me, she's like, people who watch podcasts are so stupid because they never leave the house. You just like consume. But when are you actually going to do?
Right? Yeah.
So you feel like a genius in your lounge, but you're not doing anything practically, you know?
Yes.
I think mentorship could kind of be the same way. So I guess
No, sorry, 100%,
yeah.
because it's like what I wanted to drive through to even Luyanda is that application is so key.
Critical.
It's so key because you could still have somebody guide you and you still don't apply.
Yep.
So then it's almost like, what is the point?
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, man. So I guess mentorship is great, is good. So is education, so is learning, so is asking questions, so is a whole bunch of stuff. But I think the most important thing here is, are you taking the stuff you're learning? Are you cross-analyzing them? Because nobody is God, you know?
Yeah.
You shouldn't take anybody's word because people
Not
can lead
even
you to the
ours.
wayside. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just all
Facts.
directive.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
a direction of an answer, a direction of an action that you could possibly take.
100%. So yeah, man. So I hope that answers your question and gives a little bit more to work with as far as practically how you move forward from this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I really appreciate it. I think even now as you were discussing it got me thinking like other ways I can approach it. I think definitely using the YouTube and also the other available information, because even after what you said, it's like, a lot of the stuff actually is available. It's just a matter of
100%.
Yeah.
It's
having
all
the
there, bro.
discipline to use it.
Yeah.
No,
And
I
I
really
guess
appreciate that.
After all,
Nah,
you
shout
also
out.
did have the spark to this question from content.
You
You know what I'm
understand?
trying to say?
Yeah.
So
Shout out Leander, and we wish you all the best. Please, do engage with us more and let us know, and maybe later we can touch base and see where you are in your journey.
Yeah, no. I
Okay.
really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Much love.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Why don't
Yeah.
you have a mentor?
Why don't I have a mentor?
Yeah.
Crazy. I say you just asked me this question offline. You know what? Look, this is the honest truth. Like, it's very rare to find people that want to genuinely help you get to where you want to go.
Facts.
Without an agenda, right? And the other side of the coin, it's very rare to find people that are not insecure about helping somebody get to where they want to go.
be. Yeah.
So I've encountered individuals that could have potentially been, but
In
the
position.
insecurity popped up because
Yeah.
I'm very strong-willed, I'm very ambitious,
Right.
and I'm determined.
Right.
So depending on where you're sitting, I do have the potential to get to your level, most definitely.
Yeah.
Because
And
I'm
probably
aspiring to.
surpass.
And probably surpass.
That's what people are uncomfortable
And
with.
people are uncomfortable with that.
That's the whole concept of it, right? It's kind of like stand on my shoulders and get further.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's weird.
Yeah,
Is
that's-
it a black person thing?
I mean, we could talk about that.
That's probably a whole nother
That's a
conversation.
whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and I've never really thought about it as
Yeah.
that. I've really always picked up on the insecurity element, really. That this person has this thing and they're the big person in the room and they want to be the only big person in the room. Where I'm just like, I don't have that insecurity, hence why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because we don't, and that's one of the things that we found in common, that we don't mind giving the information.
Right.
We don't mind helping the next person because
Right.
we don't feel like that affects what we're doing
100%.
at all. And hey, if you become if you get to our level or even further, let's be in the same room.
Right.
That doesn't move us.
There's this Instagram account of a bunch of Zulu guys in Durban who kind of get together and have a conversation, like they share game, you know what I mean? And recently I watched a guy speak about just touching a little bit on this culture thing. He says, if you go to an Indian guy and you ask for like a cell phone cover, whatever, and he shows you a cover you don't like, and you're like, I don't really want it. He says, yo, my man, tell me which one you like. You know what I'm trying to say? You describe it. He picks up the phone, calls the guy around the corner and says, yo, this nigga's looking for something like this. Do you got it? He's like, yeah, I got it. He says, yo, give me 2 minutes and we'll fish that for you. You know what I mean? Whereas in our culture, it's almost like, yo, face, do what I can get. Hi, hang out and face. Hey. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, maestro. Yeah. So it's almost like that psyche. I wonder. But that's a very interesting conversation.
It definitely is a very interesting conversation. And I think, for today, unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Right.
And we have to close it. But I think that the topics that we spoke about today are very solid and very good.
Yeah.
You know, and to add on to the mentorship conversation to everybody, it's the same way we said to the girl, to the lady that, study the platforms.
Right.
In this case, it's like if you're really into your craft, bro,
you're finna.
Studying has nothing to do with school. School is an institution that presents you a system that you can use to study a subject. For some people, that system works for them to have an outcome of having the knowledge of the subject.
Right.
For some people, that system doesn't work.
Right.
So that means now you go on your own time but one way or another, for you to be the master of your craft, Kobe Bryant said, I had to watch tapes, my brother.
Bro.
That man studied Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Studied.
Wow.
And he studied the players he went against, and he knew, this guy's like, he had to study. And I feel like because we now in a generation where school has become a little bit different in the conversation, we kind of don't put the weight still on studying.
Yeah. And I guess there's two sides to it, right? So that you spoke of is studying outside, but it's a very big part of studying yourself too.
Ooh, that's good.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, understanding, like, yo, where am I at? What are my past mistakes? Like, what are my patterns? Like, what triggers me? What are my stacked habits? When this happens, do I most likely do that? You know? Hence, coming back to the sports analogy, people watch their own game tapes. Oh,
yes,
that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm trying to say? And I think we often don't do that because we project our insecurities instead of kind of letting them bounce back into us because they can only fuel us and kind of help us better ourselves.
That's good.
And I've had to go through a lot of those. I'm just like, my man, it was that brew. But it's like, actually, it was you, my brother. You're the one who messed this up. You know what I'm trying to say? And you repeat the same things over and over again because you're always looking for somebody else to blame. But if you can actually just look at yourself, you can save yourself from a lot going forward.
My brother, that's a good one. I think let's close it there. We try our best, to keep it, straight to the point and short for you guys to be able to consume,
right?
And for easier consumption. But thank you very much for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and ensure that you just engage with us and hit the link, ask us your question, or send this to a friend who you think we could help answer a question that they've asked before.
Right.
But thank you very much for tuning in. I hope this was good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time on the next episode of Dial and Discover. D&D. One time.
D'accord.